I'm Ryan, this is my brother Daniel, and this is Rolls and the Family. And today we are talking about flicking, maybe stacking, throwing, hitting. We're talking about dexterity games here.
Okay.
We actually really, really enjoy dexterity games. I don't know if that's just our history with like sports,
right?
Like as part of what like makes us like a lot of dexterity games.
We're trying to relive the glory days, Ryan. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Let me tell you, beating up on my kids in these games is really what brings my life meaning.
Right.
But these are games that, I mean, dexterity games bring an interesting thing to the world of tabletop gaming because it's this kind of whereas a lot of board games have like discrete options or spaces, dexterity games a lot of times, I mean, it's like physics. It's like anything could happen. The thing could land. And so you do often have the, you'll see things you haven't seen before,
right.
which is, we love that about sports as well.
We do.
So if you're looking for some good dexterity games, we're about to count down our top recommended ones. We will have links to all these in the description below if you want to go check them out for yourself. If you want to beat up on your own children in a
yes, if that's just
some dexterity games.
How can I
assert
also my dominance more?
We would love if you comment below with what your favorite dexterity tabletop game is. I say tabletop. Some of these are pushing the limits a little bit of
Our
board
first
games.
recommendation: basketball.
It's like games that you store in a box and would get out to primarily play at a table.
Okay.
Like as long as it meets those criteria, it can make the list. But yeah, we'd love to hear what people enjoy. Maybe some ones that we don't even mention on this list that others can check out. But Daniel, how about you introduce us here to our? This is a shared list, by the way.
Right.
A lot of times we do our own lists. Would have been a lot of overlap here, so we just kind of collaborated.
Right. Well, I was going to say, if someone, lets us, I mean, we love dexterity games so much. If they share a game that we haven't tried, gosh, we might have to.
We might have to try it.
Might have to try it. Clicking a link won't earn us, any revenue.
Yeah,
but,
please don't post your affiliate links in the comments. I believe that breaks the terms of service.
Oh, darn. Yeah. Well, anyways, Ryan, my number 10, this is, I guess it's not mine. It's ours. This is a shared list.
Yes.
I don't think we clarified that.
Yeah, we can't really hate on each other's picks here.
Yeah, what a terrible pick. Our number 10 recommendation is the only, I guess, maybe more kids game on the list, although I would argue this is also can be an adult game as well. But this is going to go to Beasts of Balance. This game, is one that has got this, plinth.
That's what they call it.
That actually connects to an app. So, you can connect to your phone, an iPad, and ultimately you are stacking these physical pieces, animals and other pieces onto the plinth. You scan them first. It's actually a really sweet whole little system.
This is a really unique concept here.
Yeah. So you scan it into the app and use, so like if I scan, the shark, I literally see the shark appear in the little ecosystem in your app, but then you have to stack it on the plinth, and the plinth is essentially a weight scale, so it can tell, when you've placed the thing in the app. And so you're, kind of one by one scanning more of these pieces, and you can add more animals to the ecosystem. You can make them like, merge into
crossbreed into these like into different fantasy creatures and stuff.
So there's a certain element of even like discovering new animals that you've never created before, which is cool. But then you're ultimately trying to stack this, this game of stacking things as high as you can. And if it falls over, you've got like, kind of a timer on the app that you got to try to get everything back on. Ryan, we've both had a ton of fun playing this, especially with our kids. This has been a big hit, and you have more of this.
Yeah, so I had some of the expansion content. I mean, when my eldest son was 2, this was by far his favorite
This was
game.
the hit.
And it works well with, kids of any age, but especially when he was 2. We were playing this every single day. And it's fun from like different angles, because there's the fun of like building the ecosystem and seeing what crossbreeds you can get. Then there's the like trying to get a good score in the game. And then there's the whole how that feeds into the stacking piece and how do we stack these pieces so that it is cooperative. You're all working as a team here. How do you stack these things so it'll be easier to keep going?
Right.
You know, if you have like a group of, you know, adults or whatever that really tries to go for a good score, it gets pretty fascinating with the decisions of like, when do we use our limited crossbreeds? How do we set up this so that we're going to be able to play as many pieces as possible? You start playing some of those funny pieces that like you put in the one that the moons start coming in the app, and like somebody has to click it if it's ever like a full moon, but if you don't want to click and you get more points as long as you have it going. And so there's some funny things in there, but yeah, super unique game here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This one has gone over super well. I'm always amazed when my 2-year-old, when you know my oldest was 2, and she would like do something, and I'm like amazed at how she pulled off this like balance.
It's really good for motor skills for kids, and they're big chunky pieces too.
Also have moments where when one piece falls off, she proceeds to smack all the pieces off.
Yes,
you know, so that can happen too.
Yes. So there you go, Beast Balance. Great pick, especially if you have kids. Our number 9, Daniel knows so much about. No, Daniel knows nothing about this game. But I have played it and thought it should be included on the list. This is Bonk. And Bonk, I think, is made by the same people that make Clask, which, spoiler, might be coming up later on the list.
Wow, Ryan, come on.
Dang it, I ruined the video. But Bonk is a really unique, you kind of need 4 players to play it. It's kind of this 2 versus 2. Where each player has a corner of the board that has their little ramp, and there's all these little metal balls that when you put it on the ramp and send it down, it basically shoots that ball out into the arena, and you can aim that ramp. So that's like how you're playing. But in the middle of the arena, there's this wooden ball that at the beginning of the game, like you'll say go, and everybody will start shooting their little metal balls at that ball, and you're trying to hit it to score on the other goal. And both sides of the board are slightly slanted towards that goal. So once you hit it over, you know, the side, it's going to roll that way and basically funnel into the goal. The only way you're going to prevent that is by hitting, you know, it with more of these metal balls. And so you're like sending them to try to like hit it to try to hit it back. Well, what's interesting is the metal balls are limited in like how many there are. And so every time you shoot one, you've sent it to your opponent's supply. They now can take that one. And so as you start to get a little bit better, I mean, the first few times you play this, like the people score in like 2 seconds because we're all really bad at it, and like you're not good at like defending. But once you get a little bit better at it, you start to realize, one, like you can get, you know, turn the tides of getting it back rolling on the other side. But then also how do I manage the metal balls? Because if we have more of them, you know, if you're just firing like crazy, you know, if the opponent isn't sending that many back, you can actually find that you like don't have any to fire. And so this one that I've only had a couple sessions that I've played it. My in-laws actually have this game.
Okay.
And but the times we've played it, I think we've played it like 30 times in a row. So it's that type of game, and especially if you have a group of people that can like substitute in and out, it's a fun one to watch and like switch people in and out. So it can work really, really well in a party setting like that. So yeah, it's one I actually wouldn't mind owning. It's one of these things. It's not a cheap game, and I know my in-laws found it really cheap at like a thrift store. So I'm like, maybe I'll find it sometime.
Holy cow! That's epic.
But yeah, as long as you can meet that 4-player count and maybe in a party setting, I think Bonk's a lot of fun.
Very nice, Ryan. Our number 8 recommendation is a game that I own and have actually for a long time wanted to expand it a little more, because I think it would be epic if you could play in even a larger arena. This game is going to be Ice Cool. And, you know, a little play on words there. Ice cool, you know. High school. There you go. But this is a game where one of the coolest things about this game, honestly, is just the way the box, it literally becomes the arena that you're playing in. So the box has like all these like littler boxes inside, and you kind of piece them together and you build this, you know, big kind of shared arena that has these little entrances between the different sections. And essentially everyone's gonna get a turn to be the hall monitor, and you've got these little penguin pieces, and these are one of my favorite board game components in games because they're kind of weighted on the bottom, and so they're like bobbing back and forth. And ultimately every round the hall monitor is trying to flick their penguin to go hit the other people's penguins and try to catch as many of them as they can, while the other penguins are trying to get through all of the different openings that have one of their like fish above them. And so but the thing that makes this game awesome is there is some seriously cool things that you can do with how you flick these penguins, given kind of the physical nature of them. So obviously, you could flick at the base and flick it straight and, it goes. But you can, if you tilt your finger and give it kind of a softer little side flick, you can get some crazy curves. I mean, I've seen one where it's like someone curves through the first entrance around through the second, and like these, shots that's like, oh my goodness, that was incredible. And then, Ryan, if you're feeling bold, you can, if you flick pretty hard the top of the head of the penguin.
Poor penguins.
And I know, these poor penguins. If you flick the top of the head hard, it'll cause it to go down and ultimately jump. I mean... And so you can, if you pull it off, can jump over walls.
Yeah, apparently this high school just has like lofted walls with open... You can just go over the walls.
Exactly. But it is, I think the possibility for just really cool shots in this game makes it so much fun. And this is where I want to get Ice School 2 as well, because you can actually add it to the original copy and now have basically an arena that's like double the size and whatnot, which I think would be a ton of fun. But this one, has the possibility for some pretty high skill dexterity shots. Especially it's one you can get better at over time.
Yeah.
So
I've only played this one a couple times, but I do really like the just game arc of taking turns being the hall monitor, because you get like the one round where you're the one trying to catch the other people, but then the other rounds where you're running away and trying to get the fish, which I think is just kind of a nice touch into a dexterity game like this.
I agree.
Nice. My next one, number 7, our next one. If you like golf and have ever wanted...
I'm bad at golf. Does that
bring
count?
that experience to the tabletop, there is now a game that will allow you to do that, I think, quite effectively, and that is Finger Golf.
Oh, it's a great name.
And Finger Golf, if you get the full set, you can kind of choose to just buy the clubs with the ball, in which case you're just playing on like carpet or something. I would recommend getting the full fairway and green mats. That are these kind of big rolled up mats. I mean, they're probably like 3 feet by 2 feet big mats that are this really nice green.
They are very nice.
I don't know how to describe it, but you're just going to want to rub your face on it.
I know. I've thought about getting one just to sleep on.
But you basically can construct a hole. And, we found that there's a lot of flexibility here. You can stick things under the mats, like plates or things, to get nice, like, slopes. You could use other objects to be obstacles. The full version I got has, like, the trees that put together, so you can kind of put these out. So you build this hole, and then you're going to play golf on it, where literally you're putting the ball on the tee box, and there's these little clubs that go on the end of your finger, and you're hitting it. I mean, it's like you are hitting it like you would hit a golf ball.
Yeah.
And what's so cool about the material of the ball combined with then, how you're hitting it is that you can really hit it. It's almost like this styrofoam. And when you hit it, you can get a fade or a draw. You can you can get pretty good at this, intentionally putting, so you can also be very, very bad at it. But it's just one more reason it's like real golf
so well.
You'll shank a few shots. But the way you smack it and it goes, and instead of flying out the window, it has enough drag in the air that it'll land on the green mats and like die really quickly.
Yeah.
So it like, stops and it ends up like really simulating golf very well. Like the kind of skill of it, the strategy of how to approach the course.
Yeah.
And what's fun is like, if you're playing, say we're going to play a 9-hole course, we basically take turns making holes. And usually like when I've done it, we'll have like a specific like pars for each of the holes. And so it'll be like, okay, we need a par 4. And I've kind of explained some guidelines on what like a par 3 versus a par 5 might look like in building it. And so then people love that part of the game of getting to construct their own little hole. And then that person's usually the first one to try it. You can also be playing with really any number of players because you just let each person have a run of the hole and get down their score. The way you putt on the, it rolls, and like if you have a hill, you can putt and roll it on the hill. I'm just really impressed by the product here, how well it executes on what it's trying to do. So this is one, it's pretty new to my collection. I could see this going up on a list like this, just because if you can get kind of the big experience of a group doing a full 9-hole or whatever game of it, I mean, it really is like kind of this more fun event style dexterity game. And yeah, it's been one I've had a lot of fun with. You played it a little bit.
I did.
Think you haven't gotten the full experience yet, but
yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying there. It shockingly simulates golf on a tabletop
and as
setting.
is true of basically all the games on this list, it has that opportunity for amazing shots, right? Like that's like one of the most core
it is
key things to a good dexterity game is the chance for something amazing to happen.
Just waiting for them to add bunkers, Ryan. That's all.
I'm waiting on those bunkers. Because we need it to be a little harder, I think.
Ryan, our number 6 recommendation is one that you own now. We got this one
way back, so like 2012
way
or
back.
something.
So it's kind of hard to get now, which is unfortunate. Sometimes you can find it on the secondhand market.
I hope it gets like a proper reprint. You'd think it would. But.
I hope so too, because this one really has the ability to support good number of players around, again, just this shared dexterity racing game on the table. Our number 6 is Pitch Car. And in Pitch Car, again, maybe even similar to Finger Golf, you get the first satisfaction of building the racetrack. And, depending on the pieces that you have, you can build some pretty cool racetracks, like whipping around and have a jump over, and then the way there's the guardrail, kind of the rails, and sometimes there's ones like in the middle of a piece that can make things interesting, because the way the game goes is on your turn you have your disc and you just flick your disc, and it's very simple, but again, the type of shots you can get in this game are incredible, and there is something so satisfying when you get that flick and it just like whips. I mean, it really like there could be
it goes
some
around a whole rail and goes over a jump, and
right,
right.
So there's a lot of skill in this game of because there's both the like being effective at power, being able to really whip something around, catch up distance, but you also need accuracy too. Because sometimes the different, like, you got to squeeze between, there's a someone else's disc and a rail, but if you can just slip it right through and ride the rail, it pulls you into the lead. And so this one just again has a lot of creativity around it. There's you can build any type of racetrack that you want. You can make it shorter, make it bigger. You can have, I don't know how many players your copy goes up to.
I think 8 is what the base game goes up to, though you certainly, if you could either get another copy or like get just more discs, you
but
could go
people
higher.
This is one of those just standing around the table, people are rotating around, flicking their discs. It gets a little fiddly, at least our experience with the setting up of the track,
like the actual puzzle pieces of the track,
because you don't want a piece that's after a piece to be at all above it, because otherwise
Yeah.
your pieces. I mean, the pieces need to slide smooth, and so
Yeah, we got in the habit of, we actually have a deck of cards in my pitch card box that we always slide a playing card under the end of
a
each piece so that it's just airing on the side of lifting.
Right.
And that's worked pretty well for us. It's a little fiddly though, right?
A little
to go
fiddly.
around and add all these little cards.
right. But we've had a lot of fun with this one, Ryan. I feel like, aren't you pretty good at this game?
Historically, yes. I haven't played it a lot in recent years. I don't know. Maybe I've lost my mojo.
Oh, no,
but,
Ryan.
But
Yeah.
when you were talking about like the skill of the shots, it is interesting because, a lot of it is like how ambitious do you get for like what you're going to do.
Oh,
and there's this
completely.
risk of if your disc goes off or you knock someone else's disc off.
Yeah.
You
have
go back to where you were, and that was your turn. And I
Right.
think that really makes a lot of this game, because the better players are trying for these
Right.
more
Crazy
ambitious
shots.
things. Yeah, it's just good fun. Nice. My number 5, I'd say of ones on this list, is maybe like the most accessible. Like you could play this with pretty much anybody, ages, young kids up to, older grandparents that don't think they want to play, a board game necessarily. I think this one is really accessible and goes over well with a lot of groups, and this is Strike. In Strike, there is the box actually stays out with this insert that's kind of like this arena bowl thing. And then there's just tons of these dice that have numbers from 1 to 6, but instead of a 1, it has an X on it. And everybody starts the game with a certain amount of dice, and that's like your life pool. And it's going to be last person standing. Once you lose all your dice, you're eliminated out of the game. And on your turn, you're going to throw one of your dice into the arena. And you can kind of do this however you want. You can, try to hit other dice. You can try to run it around the thing. You could just like lightly roll it away from everything. But once all the dice have settled, you're first going to remove any X's. So any that rolled to an X or got knocked to an X are just going to be removed from the game entirely. But then anything that matches, you get to take, which could be, multiple different matches. You could have like 4, 4, 6, 6 and get to take them all back. And now that's now in your supply to keep you in the game. And then that ends your turn. If none of them match, though, you have a choice. You can either throw again, and the odds are kind of going up now because there's more dice up there, or you can pass to the next player's turn. So there's a little bit of this push your luck thing of how long do I go to, try to get some back, because if I ever throw that last die and don't get a match, I am eliminated out of the round. This one is more fun and creates a better group energy than it has any right to. Like, it just seems like it shouldn't, but I've played this a lot. I think I've played it well over 100 times at this point.
Wow.
Because it just goes over so well in so many groups, and usually if it comes out, it gets played many times in a row, because we're talking a game that plays in like 5 minutes, or
Right.
close to that. One of the, I think, reasons that it does so well is that rule that if ever you take all the dice out of the arena, it forces the next person to go all in with all of their dice that they currently have.
That is such a great
Which is such
rule.
a fun dynamic, because it like basically, forces them to do this thing that's likely going to hurt them. But then there's times where it actually like
Works
they
out.
get some amazing roll and get
Yeah.
everything, or and every round is coming down to like a 1 versus 1 finishing, which is just like a fun dynamic. So this one has been just an absolute hit since I got it. And I have such a new appreciation for like really short games and games that are easy to like, because the short, it's not only like, it's easy to teach and like less commitment for the players, but you also now in a social setting have way more opportunities to substitute people in and out. And so this is a game where like it is very common for, somebody to drop out and somebody who is watching to come and be like, I'll get another game and play that. So if you want to throw some dice, this is a lot of luck in this game. But I will say, it's a little more skill than you might think, as my statistics would suggest that there's.
Luck could have resulted
skill.
in those statistics too.
It's true. I got a pretty good sample size.
You're just really lucky, Ryan.
Got a pretty good sample size, but like when do you choose to hit other dice to try to roll them, and how accurate are you?
Typical Ryan claiming a lucky game
How
is all
often
skill
do you
when
accidentally
he wins.
bounce your die out of the arena and just lose it for no gain?
Yeah,
But,
Ryan, I see through
yes.
you.
I'll have to look up your statistics in this game. So.
I think I played it like 2 times.
Yeah. Okay. That is That one goes up to about 5 players, so that's a nice one for a group. This next one, number 4, is 2-player only, with a slight caveat to that I will get to.
I was just considering buying this one actually off Facebook Marketplace.
This one, I see it show up on Facebook Marketplace, which is a good way to get it. This is Clask. I hinted at this one earlier. This is basically what I would say if you want something that feels a little bit like air hockey, but in this type of tabletop game. This is what I recommend, and I think it's a lot more fun than air hockey, personally. So at its base, you've each got these magnetic pieces that you're controlling your piece from below the board because you have a magnet that touches it. And there's a yellow ball that you're hitting back and forth, trying to make it into the hole on the other person's side, and that's how you're going to score. And they so easily could have made that the game, and that be it. And that would have been still
probably better than
probably pretty fun, yeah. But it really takes us to the next level with some of the other ways you can score in this game. Namely, there's these 3 white, I almost said yellow ball, 3 white magnets that are in the middle. They're called biscuits, and they start in the center line. And these just get knocked around as the game goes. Like, you can hit them and the little biscuits fly around. But these biscuits are magnetic, so if they ever get too close to your player piece, they jump up onto your player piece and stick to you. And if ever you get 2 of those stuck to you during a round, you lose the point. And so now you're playing this game of trying to score the ball, but you also can be leaning into the biscuits. You can try to hit the biscuits at the other player. You can, and you're trying to, sometimes the biscuits get stuck on your side, and now you have this obstacle that you're trying to work around, and the other player's like trying to hit the ball like towards it so that you're forced to, risk getting it stuck on you. Just a really brilliant wrinkle added into this game. And one that just makes every round exciting and fun. And this is a very skillful game. I mean, they literally have world championships of this game. So there's a lot of room to get quite good at Clask.
I would love to watch that.
Yeah,
what a world champion Clask player looks like.
Look it up on YouTube today after we're done filming. I have watched some of them. It's great fun, and we're talking a game that one back and forth is like less than a minute that somebody scores, and you play first person to get 6 points. So again, it's one of those that the full games are very short. You're talking 10 minutes or less tops. And it also one that if you bring it out at like a party setting, you will get people watching. You will get people being like, I've got next game. Like, you can create this very fun dynamic. It'd be a fun one to do a tournament around, honestly.
Yeah, it would.
But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with Clask. If you want that more like action head-to-head dexterity game, Clask is a great one.
It's a great recommendation, Ryan.
Thanks.
Our number 3 is probably the most gamer of the recommendations on our list. A little more going on. It is a kind of dungeon crawler type in terms of theme and whatnot. And yet it has the dexterity of cooperatively chucking dice at a target. Our number 3 recommendation goes to Dungeon Fighter. We have a long history with Dungeon Fighter. We got the kind of original copy. We have both now actually gone in on the collector's edition, which we actually love and think it's really great. Although still get, the original kind of, second edition you can get now are all great.
Stuffs. Yeah, really good.
But this is one where you are all cooperatively on a team, moving through a dungeon, fighting monsters, but the way you do it is on your turn, you have a die, and you have to bounce it at least once, off of the table, and then get it to land on this target, and the target has different, damage amounts that it deals to the enemy monster. And so even just, that in itself, the skill of being able to kind of consistently, throw the die, hit the table, and get to where you want on the target. But then the game just injects so much wild variability around that. So one, the monsters, part of what makes monsters more difficult as you go through the dungeons, and oh my gosh, those like last stage monsters are crazy hard, is they add challenges to how you're throwing the die. So for example, one monster might say, hey, you got to throw the die from below eye level of the table. So I got to go sit on the floor and do that. Or you got to, kick your leg up here and throw stick your arm under and throw it, underneath your leg. Or you got to do it with your eyes closed, or a 360 shot. So, you're just, it adds just these crazy, just fun, like, oh my gosh, you're just watching people do these crazy things, but real challenge to the shots. You add into that, you're getting items and weapons as you go along, and the weapons they do more damage, but they also can add challenge to your shot. I love the sword of friendship, where literally you have a partner come over and they have the die in their hand and you have to grab their wrist and throw the die with. It's just like, this is so great.
There's nothing that bonds you more than the sword of friendship.
I tell you what, even as much as there's like gamer stuff going on here, this game is remarkably accessible in that, if you don't care about the details of like the dungeon, like, it's cooperative. You can just on your turn, throw your dice and have a great time. But for those who do like each of you has a unique character, and your character has unique abilities. One of the cool things is the dice that you're throwing have a side that has a symbol, and if it lands on the target with that symbol, depending on which color die you threw, you trigger that ability. And so you're, trying to figure out, okay, the next three of us that are attacking, who should take what color die to try to trigger this ability. So there really is some shared strategy around it. And I just find every time we play this game, there is just such a great energy at the table, and especially with our collector's edition, as we, you go through the dungeon and you're just bringing out all of these crazy fun components and plastic things. You're flicking a die off a ramp. It's just, Ryan, this one has been a long time hit for us.
Yeah.
And has gone over so well.
Yeah, I mean, we're speaking from a voice of experience here. I mean, I think if you include the first edition, I think I'm up close to like 80 plays or something of this game. And I would say, if you're someone that's listening that's maybe a more gamer person and you're like, that sounds a little too silly for me, with the throwing of the legs, I wouldn't gloss over it, because I've had this go over so well with a more gamer group,
like your core group.
Yeah. And then if you're on the other side where you're like, oh, like I like that kind of stuff, but it seems like this one might be a little too complicated, you really only need one person in your group that's willing to like kind of run the game as far as like managing this stuff.
And it's really not that
And it's
complex.
not that bad. It really isn't that bad.
Right.
So yeah, we are pretty big big fans of this one. We're always singing its praises. I just know there's so many groups that would have such a good time with this game that aren't playing it. So don't let that be you. Don't be the group that would be loving Dungeon Fighter. Nice. My number 2 is one that I definitely didn't force this list on Dango, I promise. This is one that I feel like I can probably more broadly recommend, maybe more than anything on this list. Like, not knowing anything about what somebody's looking for.
That's a big statement.
This is just like a surefire one to add to your collection. It has just been an absolute hit with so many different groups. It's become, a staple in our family. Every time we go over to our parents now, we actually got it for my dad, and we now play it a lot there. This is Tumbling Dice. And Tumbling Dice is great because you can teach it in about 5 seconds to people. There's like these wooden stair steps that go down, and on your turn, you get to put one of your dice at the top and flick it down. And whatever level it lands on is going to determine the multiplier, and whatever result the die gets determines the value. And so if you get all the way down to the ×4 with a 6, you get a 24. But what's really interesting is you don't score those points right then. You wait until everybody has finished doing all 4 of their dice, and when it's your turn, you can choose to hit other people's dice. And so you can try to hit off somebody that's doing well, or maybe one of your dice that only, made it down to the first or second level, you try to hit to get them to tumble further for higher rewards, or then regret it when you accidentally hit them both off the board. But just such a nice, going around and everybody just taking turns flicking dice. It's got so that amazing things can happen with how things get knocked off or knocked around, or something gets, it's, funny when somebody gets an amazing shot, but then it's a 1 and it's and that randomness of the die. Yes, it's adding a lot of randomness. Like you can have an equally skillful shot and get a very different amount of points, but it evens the playing field out a little bit. We've played this with very young kids, and like it levels a little bit, but I will say it's still a lot of skill here.
You're making enough shots that it,
and your ability to keep your dice on the board to, knock things off or whatever. There's enough there. And so that's such a great quality in any game, is this quality of like it evening the playing field so that people who aren't as skilled feel like they still get some wins. They're still in it. But the people who are maybe more skilled and competitive still feel like they're controlling their destiny, right? They don't just feel like, oh, why am I playing this game that's so random? I think Tumble Dice does that well. In the base game, you can go up to 6 people. This is another great one to have out in like a party setting and swap people in, for the next game. You could even get more dice and potentially, go to more than 6 players if you want. But yeah, I'm kicking myself a little bit with this one because I've known about it since almost immediately when we got into the hobby back in 2009.
Really?
Like I was aware of it, but the old edition was expensive. Then it wasn't available for a long time. There's now a new edition.
I have always relied on you for board game recommendations, Ryan. But what are you doing?
I know. It's that feeling of like, man, we could have, there's like an alternate timeline where we were playing this as a family.
Life would have been
like
so much more
all
enriched.
those years, but better late than never. It's serving us well now.
Yes.
Absolutely loving Tumbling Dice, especially as a bigger group kind of party setting dexterity game.
Which is not this last one.
But it's just not this last one. But, sometimes the best of the best, it's just head to head. You just mono
or 2v2.
Right? Or 2v2. Yes, you can play 2v2. But primarily a 1 against 1 game. And this one, I have had so much fun playing it. Personally, just my enjoyment of it now, especially since my son is a big fan of it. We've been playing it a lot, and I definitely have come to the conclusion that this is just a best-in-class dexterity game, and this is Crokinole. And Crokinole, again, people might not look at this and think, that's a board game, right? Like, I hang this big wooden, circle on my wall that's like 3 feet in diameter or whatever. But you pull it down, you put it on the table, and you're playing this game that's a little bit like kind of a shuffleboard feel of flicking these discs on this wooden board, and you're trying to make it into that hole that's in the center. But what makes this game so fascinating and so much bang for your buck out of one rule. Like this one rule makes Crokinole. And it's the rule that if your opponent has any discs on the board, you must hit one of their discs to have a legal shot. So that means that once your opponent's out there, now it's this game of trying to hit theirs to clear theirs off so that they don't get points, while also hitting yours to get closer to the hole or in the hole.
Yeah.
And it just, when you're playing one-on-one, you're just getting so many shots, just back and forth. You get into a really nice rhythm. Interesting shots, skillful shots. Even when you've played the game a lot, you'll find kind of new situations with how the discs are distributed out there. You definitely possibility for amazing shots in this one, whether it's clearing multiple shots or clearing something and making it into the hole.
Right.
It just works so well. The 2 versus 2 is also a lot of fun. It has a very different feel because you're across from your partner and your opponents are like coming from the side. So where in the 1 versus 1, you can kind of hide discs a little bit because they're kind of behind the barrier. Here it just feels like there are discs coming from every side. But man, is it just great fun. And again, easy to teach and just get going with a group of 4.
Right.
So yeah, I like if somebody is looking for a dexterity game, and specifically if they think they're going to have a lot of opportunities to play with one other person, there's just no game I'm going to recommend more highly than Crokinole. It's not like a cheap game, right? Like of things on this list, it's probably even getting like a budget Crokinole
How much did you
board.
pay for your board?
So mine at the time was $100 for a Mayday Games board.
I mean, that's like an average board game.
Yeah. But which is, I think they're more expensive now. Honestly, that's a great price for what I got out of it. You can
I like
easily, for like a more like tournament quality Crokinole board, you can easily be closer to $400, $500 or even higher.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm like, maybe someday. I mean, it's one of those things you like love a game so much, and it could be fun to have 2 boards, like for some
Sell
kind
me
of
your old
event thing, or sell Dang on my old board.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, Crokinole, it's one that I lamented how much it wasn't getting played for a long time because my primary person I've been playing with like moved out of state, and it was like, oh, okay, someday. But then my oldest, I think when he was still 4, we pulled it out and started playing it. And let me tell you, you practice with a kid, they get a lot better at it.
Your son, oh my gosh, I was so amazed at how good he was when I played against him.
We're just trying to raise a Crokinole prodigy over here.
One of the things that also is fun in that is like, you know, when you are able to like clear off all of the opponent's discs, you know, there's kind of that pressure of opportunity of like,
totally,
I can go for the center now just with a straight shot. And so, you know, part of being good at Crokinole is that you really start to master that straight shot.
Or at least keep it in the inner circle, because that's the rule when there's no opponent discs on the board is if your disc doesn't land touching the center circle, it gets cleared. It doesn't get to stay on the board.
Which has happened to me many of times.
Yes. Yeah, and you'll get into these situations where it gets to that, and like you actually trade shots in the hole, like if you're playing at a little higher level where like there's multiple, and it's just, man, yeah, that's fun. I love the change in just dynamic in the game when you go back to shooting on the hole versus clearing. It's good stuff, man. Dang, I just want to go play Crokinole right now.
Well, it is just you and me now. Ryan is left to play Crokinole, but you can spend more time with us by watching another video. Look at that. There's a couple more here. You can click on one of those. We've got a lot more content just for you. We'll see you in the next one.